Okay. All right, so we have these blocks right here, and I have the blocks on two different settings. So, well, rather one setting. So I have these blocks on the lowest setting, and I stack them one after the other. So they're one after the other. One block is here, the other block is here. And then what I do is I take my back and I release my shoulder blades onto these blocks. So I want to see that just my shoulder blades are touching the blocks while the rest of my spine is off of the blocks. So you'll lie on down like this, and for some of us the chin may be floating up towards the ceiling. So if that's the case for you, what you can do is take a blanket and place it underneath your head, just like this. So if you have a blanket, you could place a blanket or a towel, and you just place this underneath your head like this, and that will be suitable. That gives you enough lift so that you are able to maintain the posture. If it's too much to have your chest lifted up in this way, another option that you can do is to take a blanket, and you can unfold the blanket once, just like this, or a towel, and you could just fold the blanket or towel in thirds, and then just lie on down onto this setup. So these are two options, and you don't want to feel that you have any pressure in your low back, so please choose an option that you feel works best for you. So the second option is a little bit lower to the ground. It's not as much pressure on the back. This time you'll place the blanket right up against the low back here, and then you'll release the entire spine on that blanket. So either option is fine. The first one is a little bit more kind of a lift. So it gives us more of this opportunity to observe that natural openness of the chest. So the first option, it's not that one is better than the other, it's that each option serves a different purpose. So the first option is really nice if you can allow it, and you can allow yourself to rest into it. It should give you that nice openness of the chest. So that's why you may want to take the first option. But if you feel like you have pressure in the low back or too much pressure in the shoulders, then consider taking the second option, because you don't want to feel too much pressure in this pose. And from here, just observe your breath. So eventually allow the breath to become a natural, long and slow here. Good. And then from here, you'll take your feet and you'll bring your feet towards one another. So your right foot comes towards the left foot here. And both feet are flexed. So if this becomes an issue for you, like you start to feel low back issues here, you could consider bending the knees. That's one option. You could consider going down into the first setting or the second setting that I showed up, just with using the blanket. And then begin to inhale and lift the arms up towards the ceiling. So as you lift the arms up towards the ceiling, the palms face each other. The right palm faces the left palm. The left palm faces the right palm. Once again here, you're noticing the length through the fingers. And you're allowing for your shoulders to retract back into the shoulder socket. So what this does is it allows for a natural propulsion of the chest. Now as the chest lifts up, there needs to be a slight softening through the low ribs here. And then eventually you'll take your fingers, you'll interlace your thumb towards your left elbow, you'll interlace your other thumb towards your right elbow, and you'll begin to take your interlaced forearms to the forehead here. You could rest the hands, or rather the forearms, on top of the forehead and just breathe here. If you start to feel any tension in the neck muscles, then please consider just lifting the hands a little bit off of the forehead, or the forearms off the forehead, just so that you have a little bit more of a support here. So you don't want to feel any pressure in the neck at all in this posture. And then eventually what I'd like you to do is extend the arms up towards the ceiling, turn the palms to the ceilings, and just extend the arms any amount back behind the head. Now spin the fingers to face one another. Once again, if you feel any pinching in the neck muscles, take the hands forward. That will take pressure off the neck. Good, and then reinterlace the forearms here the opposite way. So you'll take your hands to your forearms and you'll bring your forehands to, or your forearms rather, to the crown of your head. And just breathe here. So allow those feet to be flexed. Allow the weight in the thighs to be heavy here. So as you breathe, this is a natural way to open up the chest region and allow for more breath to float into the belly and the chest. And as you exhale here, you'll take your arms back. Once again, you'll extend the arms back behind the head. Once again, if you feel any pressure in the neck whatsoever, take the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hands to the sides. Good. Take the knees to a bent position. Bring the feet together. Bring the knees apart. This is called Supta Baddha Konasana, or supported bound angle pose. And as you breathe here, just let both thighs open up. Equal and opposite directions here. Allow the flesh of the buttocks to move towards the heels. Allow the side ribs to draw towards the armpits. Belly retracts down towards the mat to soften the frontal ribs. Good, and then from here you'll bring those knees to a bent position. One more time you'll extend the legs forward. And then this time you'll press down through your upper arms to lift the chest up and find your way up. We're going to find our way into a seated position. So you could take your blocks and just place them off to the side. And whenever we're sitting, it's often good to sit in or on a blanket. The reason is because when we have that support under the hips, it just lets us have a nice little lift here. So cross the legs here. Allow the side ribs to be lifted. Allow the chest to be lifted. Take the hands to the center chest. And if you'd like to join me in an Om, please feel free to. Take a deep breath in. Release the chin towards the chest. Maybe setting an intention for your day or for your practice. Gently lift the head, open the eyes. We're going to find our way onto our hands and our knees here. Okay. So as you find your way onto your hands and your knees, we're in tabletop pose. Spread the fingers wide apart. See that all 10 fingers are spread wide apart and feel pressure pressing through the thumb and the forefinger more than the other fingers. As you lengthen the chest forward, draw the triceps back. Allow the side ribs to float forward. Allow the belly to engage to the ceiling here. Good. And from here, just begin to extend or lengthen your right leg back. So you'll press the right ball of the foot down, right heel is engaged, right inner leg is lifting up. As you draw that right leg back, see that the weight also travels to the left hip. So begin to draw the belly in here, look down towards the fingers, and see that you're pressing evenly through both palms. Good. Exhale, lower that right knee down. Inhale, float the left leg back. So the left ball of the foot presses down to the mat. Once again, you're seeing that there is an evenness on both sides of the foot. Feel that left outer hip drawing back. Now the right hip shortens here, naturally. So we have to draw the belly in, engage those core muscles, and see that there is evenness in both the right palm and the left palm. Exhale, lower that knee down. Good. Take the knees a little wider apart. Press down through the toes. Inhale, float the knees up. Bring the chest back, downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, walk the feet a little wider apart so the feet are about mat's width distance apart. Turn the thumbs out slightly to support the shoulders here. So when the thumbs turn out, that creates more space for the shoulders so that there's more space for the arms. And then from here, just breathe as you allow your hips to lengthen here. You could always lower the knees down to the mat and take child's pose if you have any wrist or knee issues or shoulder issues. Walk the hands back to the feet. So if you're in child's pose, you're going to come on up, walk your hands back to your feet, and find your way into a forward fold. As you come into a forward fold here, once again, interlace those forearms here and release the torso down to the mat.
See that the side ribs are lengthening down towards the elbows. Begin to feel the chest folding over those thighs. And then from here, release the hands down to the floor. Good. Inhale, lengthen the chest halfway. You could take the hands to the shins here as you lengthen those side ribs to the armpits. Now as you exhale, see that the weight is even in the feet and fold forward one more time. So maybe here the belly begins to hollow and the head releases down a little bit more. Once again, cross those forearms, this time the opposite way. So as you feel that cross in the forearms, just begin to release the head on down and allow yourself to relax here, almost as in a meditative way. Good. Take the hands to the ground one more time. Begin to walk the hands forward towards the front of the mat. Come back in a downward facing dog. Exhale, release those knees down to the mat. Very nice. So spread those fingers wide apart here. Turn the thumbs out. Inhale, float the right leg back and float the right leg up this time. So once again here, once we lift that right leg, all the weight shifts over to the left hand. That's what happens. So can you press evenly through the right and the left hand here as you draw the belly in? Good. Now, take your right knee and hug your right knee into the chest. So you're going to round the spine here and look towards that right knee. Inhale, float the right leg back. So as we float the right leg back, you need to lift through the underside of that right leg. Flex the right foot. One more time, right knee comes to the chest. Place the right ball of the foot on the ground. If you have your blocks within reaching distance, take your blocks and place your blocks on either side of now your forward stepping right foot, just like this. So we're in what we call lunge pose. It's called Ardha Anjalayasana or half lunge pose. As you take this pose, inhale, lengthen the chest here. Begin to bend a little bit more deeply into the right knee and see that the right outer hip is drawing back. As the right outer hip draws back to the left ball of the foot, lift the left side of the chest even more. Maybe even float the left arm up. Now keeping that left leg engaged, root down through the left thigh. Inhale, float both arms up. So that left shin presses down while both arms extend up towards the ceiling. Good. As you exhale here, release the hands back down to those blocks. Now float down, press down rather with the ball of the left foot. Inhale, float the left leg. Blocks forward in front of you. Begin to bend into the right knee a little bit more deeply and inhale, float that left leg up. So step the blocks forward here. As you exhale, release the left foot down next to the right foot. Inhale, lengthen the chest on forward. Exhale, forward fold here. Good. Inhale, lengthen, and this time we float that right leg up. Place the right leg back behind us and release the right knee to the floor. So we have both of our hands on these blocks still. As you begin to press down through those blocks, lengthen those side ribs forward to the armpits. So if you need any support, please feel free to place a blanket underneath your right knee. From here, hug the outer left thigh in towards the right heel and begin to lengthen the right side of the chest forward. Inhale, float the right arm up. So as we lengthen that right arm up, continue to engage those core muscles here and begin to root down through the right shin bone as you lift the left arm up. So now both arms are floating up towards the ceiling. Ardha Anjalayasana, half lunge pose. Continue to breathe here as you soften those frontal ribs and lift more through the back ribs. As you exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Tuck the right toes underneath. Press down through the right ball of the foot. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Good. Straighten the left leg. And putting a bend into the left knee, this time walking those blocks forward. Lifting that right leg up and stepping your right foot next to the left. Inhale, floating up halfway. Exhale, hinging and folding. Take the hands to the low back. Inhale, lift through the chest, abdomen, sternum here. As you come back to standing, open the palms, chest, and heart here as we breathe in our Tadasana pose. So Tadasana pose, press through the four corners of the foot. See that those inner kneecaps are lifting up. See that the tailbone is releasing back down towards the heels. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana pose. Exhale again, forward fold here. Inhale, lengthening halfway. Good. Begin to turn towards your blocks. Take your hands to the blocks. Step your left leg back. All right? Spin the left heel down. Walk the blocks back a little bit more so that your right foot, right heel is in line with your left arch. Walk your right hand inside of your right leg and take your left hand to the left hip. So your hand is on a block, your knee is bending 90 degrees, and your opposite hand is on your hip. From here, inhale, lift the chest on up and take the hands to the hips. So straighten your right leg. And for most of us, our stance is very short in this pose. So if you can, walk your right toes forward a little bit more. Now notice here that the hips are a little off center. So the right hip is dipping down, the left hip is hiking up. So can you draw your left hip down as you hike your right hip up? You may be able to walk your feet a little bit more forward. So now if I were to look at my pelvis from a neutral anatomical position, I could see that my pelvis was in a single line. My right hip is not higher than my left. From here, extend your arms out to the sides. This is called Parsva Hasta Padasana pose, or side extended arms and hands pose. From here, bend into that right knee, 90 degrees. Good. So see that the left buttocks turns in. See that the left hip turns in. See that the right buttocks moves back. Draw the left arm back. Good. Straighten through that right leg again. Taking your right hand, hinging it on forward, and placing your right hand inside the leg. What I would do if you have blocks is I would place both hands. I would place the hands on blocks back behind the leg. However high you need to stack those blocks up. Left arm extends up towards the ceiling here. Now press down through both feet. Let the right buttocks hug into the midline of the body. Draw the left outer hip down. Lift the left side of the chest up. One more time, inhale. Let the left arm lift us up here. Bend into that right knee, 90 degrees. Good. We're going to take our hands onto those blocks again. And as you take your hands onto the blocks again, you're going to spin your left foot forward. You're going to bend into that right knee. Step your left leg all the way up. So you're going to walk the blocks forward. This is called half standing split pose, and step the left foot to the right. Inhale, lengthen here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. It's called Utthita Hastasana pose. Exhale, bringing those hands down to your sides. Good. So from here, spin the palms to face the front of the room and take your hands onto your hips. Bring your hands right above the flesh of the buttocks and begin to smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way down towards the heels. See that your elbows are drawing in towards each other as you do this. Trapezius muscles are releasing down through the shoulders. Okay, now keep that liftedness of the chest. Continue to feel that drawing in of the shoulders. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Nice. Exhale, hinging at the hips and folding all the way down towards your blocks here. So stepping forward to your blocks again. Inhale, lengthening the chest, heart, and sternum here. So bending through the right knee, stepping the right leg back. So step the right leg back as natural as for you. Left knee is bent. Spin the right heel down. You have what we call a heel to arch alignment. So the left heel lines up to the back middle of the foot. You could bring both blocks inside of your left leg. Keep bending into that left knee as you bring your left hand inside. Now firm the left buttocks in and begin to bring your right hand to the right hip. Just like we did in Tadasana, can you smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way to the right heel as you spin the chest to the ceiling? Draw the right shoulder back. Inhale, float the right arm up. Now let the right arm lift you up and out of the pose. Find your way into Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2 pose. Straighten that leg and bring both hands to the hips. So notice here that your left hip is a lot lower than your right hip. That's very natural in this pose. So what we need to do in order to get the hips to be more stable is we need to begin to lift up the left hip and draw down the right hip. So you may need to walk your left toes forward a little bit in order to do that. Now keep the hips as they are. Keep the hips as they are. Keep spinning in your right buttocks. So even here, your right hip is drawing forward. It's not drawing back towards the heel. It's actually drawing forward towards the left foot, your right hip. Then from here, draw the left buttocks back. This will allow you to hinge at the hips. Now, if you have your blocks, I'd recommend stacking them.
You do want to have a straight arm here, so however you want to have a straight arm and stack those blocks, please do that. See that your front leg is in a straight line. Extend your right arm all the way up towards the ceiling here. Now press through both balls of the feet. It's very important, and add a micro bend into that left knee. So the left knee bends slightly here. The left buttocks continues to draw underneath. Inhale, float that right arm up. Once again, bend into that left knee. Now take your left hand to that block. Bring your blocks to either side of the leg. Spin onto the ball of your back foot. And as you feel ready, step your back foot up. It lifts up towards the ceiling. And bring your feet back together. Inhale, lengthen the chest here for Ardha Uttanasana, or half forward fold. Exhale, release the torso all the way down. Bring the hands to the hips. Once again, even before we press up, elbows drawing towards each other. Smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way to the heels as you lift the chest. Allow the trapezius muscles to move down towards the back ribs. Inhale, float the arms up for Ardha Uttanasana pose, Urdhva Hastasana pose. Exhale, taking the hands back down and to the sides. And again here, float the arms to face the front of the room. So now, interlace your fingers behind your back in a fist, just like this. So we take our hands behind the back, we interlace them in a fist. Continue to draw the elbows back towards one another. Once again, buttocks flesh is smoothing down towards the backs of the heels. There's an evenness through the four corners of the foot. Then take both fingers and bring both fingers over towards the right hip. So now my fingers are interlaced and they're both towards the right hip. Now draw the right elbow in. See that both flesh of the buttocks are pressing down. Lift through both sides of the chest. And as you press your right hand into your as you press your left hand into your right hip, begin to lean over to your left side. Inhale back to center. Take your hands, bring them over to the other side. So once again here, we just place our hands onto that left hip rather. Hug the outer left elbow in. So see that both elbows are drawing in towards each other. Smooth the trapezius muscles towards the back ribs as you begin to press your hips all the way over towards the palms on the left side. Back to center again. All right. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, forward fold on those blocks. Inhale, lengthening halfway here. As you exhale, bending into that left knee, stepping your left leg back. Spin the left heel down, walk the right toes to center, walk those blocks back, and then from here, once again, hands come to the hips, lift the chest, and straighten your right leg. So take a quick glance at the leg, and once again, see that the leg is in a single plane, meaning that the entire leg is in one direction. Your knee is not going in, and your foot is not going out. Your knee is in line with your shin, is in line with your hip. So some of us need to actually bend the knee a little bit and spin that outer right thigh back just so that the knee lines up with the shin. It's a very minor action, but it does make the body feel like it's in better alignment. From here, extend the arms out to the sides one more time. So now begin to hinge at that right hip and feel your left hip moving forward. So the left hip moves forward, the right hip moves back. Take your hands on your blocks and place your hands on top of those blocks as you lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. So ideally here, you're feeling that right buttocks hugging in. You're lifting through that left arm. Now, just like we did with the arms extended above the head, can you move the trapezius muscles towards the top ribs? That's it. Everybody look at the belly button right now. Everybody look at the belly button. Good. All right. Now take your left hand to your left hip. We're going to come into a somewhat of a floating pose. It's called Ardha Chandrasana, but we're going to move very slowly through it. So what you're going to do is bend into that right knee. You're going to take your block and you're going to place it outside of your right foot as you step your left foot in. Now you're going to look down towards the floor at this right hand and at this right foot. You're going to step forward again 8 to 12 inches. So you have a diagonal of about 8 to 12 inches in between the hand and your foot, your right hand and your right foot. Now begin to shift the weight into that right hand and lift the left leg up any amount. Right knee stays bent.
Now hug the right buttocks in. So the right buttocks is actually drawing towards that left heel. Flex the left heel here and begin to spin the left toes down to the mat. Once again, your eyes are facing the floor here. You're engaging your navel. That's it. Then from here, bending into that right knee, softly release that left leg down. Take your block, walk your left foot back, take your block and place it one more time on top of your other block. So now you're in your really nice triangle pose. This should be a very nice triangle pose. Spin the left hip down. It's very important because as you spin the left hip down, you'll feel that length through the body. Inhale, float the left arm up, and then from here, bend into that right knee. Warrior Two pose. So in Warrior Two pose, begin to straighten that leg. Hands come to the hips and spin both feet to face the front of the mat. Now take your blocks, bring them right in front of you, and inhale, lift the chest here. This is called Prasarita Padottanasana with hands on the blocks. Lengthen the chest here and breathe. You're going to take both of your hands to center. Ideally, you want your back to be in a straight line with your back hip. So you may need to lower your fingers down onto the mat in order to get there. But if that feels like it's too low for you, then consider placing your blocks a little bit higher. Now continue to firm in the outer hips, press through the outer feet, and begin to take your left hand to the left hip here. So left hands to the left hip, lengthen the chest on forward. Draw the left hip down towards the right thigh. Inhale, float the left arm up. As the left arm floats up, see if you can lift through the chest, heart, and sternum here. Exhale, float that hand down. Inhale, lengthen both sides of the chest on forward. And then once again, bring your right hand this time to your right hip. Firm your right outer hip in. Spin the chest all the way over to the left side of the room. The right side of the room. And then inhale, float your right arm up. So we're just taking the opposite side of the pose. Lift through both sides of the chest. Draw those trapezius muscles away from the ears. Exhale, lower that hand down. Now take both hands to the hips. Press through the balls of the feet. Inhale, peel up the chest and find your way to standing. Take your blocks. Grab hold of your blocks. Spin both feet over to the right again. Place your blocks down on the mat and then spin your left foot in and step your left leg up and forward to the right. Inhale, lengthening here. Exhale, folding. Take your hands to the hips once again. Inhale, peel up the chest as you draw the buttocks flesh down towards the heels. Lift the chest up and release the arms down to the side for standing neutral pose. Interlace the fingers now at the center chest and press your palms forward in front of you. As you press your palms forward in front of you, begin to feel the shoulders retracting back into the sockets. Now see that the four corners of the feet are pressing down. Allow those inner kneecaps to lift up and begin to draw the arms up towards the ceiling, just like we started with in today's practice when we were on our mat. So from here, see that the buttocks flesh continues to lengthen down towards the heels. Engage your belly button here. So see that the belly draws towards the back of the room. Now take your arms and begin to float the arms over to the right side of the room, lifting the left side of the chest, lifting the left shoulder. Good. Inhale back to center again. Exhale, floating over to the left side of the room here. Very nice. Inhale back to center again. As you exhale, releasing those arms all the way down to the sides. Palms spin to the front of the room. Inhale, float the arms up above the head here. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. As you inhale here, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. And then this time, taking the right leg, stepping it on back, spinning the right heel on down, walking the left toes to center, and then from here, placing both hands on the hips. So once again, we have to see that the left leg lines up with the right arch. So the left heel, it lines up with the right arch of the foot. You can look back. Then you're going to notice, are your hips even? So if your hips are not even here, please consider stepping your left foot forward. So usually the reason the hips are not even is because there's not enough space in between the legs. Then from here, press through the right heel, turn the right outer hip in, press through the left ball of the foot, draw the left hip back. Good. Allow the hips to hinge naturally and begin to bring your left hand
onto your blocks behind the leg as you bring your right hand to the back hip. Press through the left ball of the foot. Bend into that left knee slightly and draw the left buttocks back. Right buttocks is smoothing towards the right heel. Right side of the chest is drawing in. Now lift up your right hand, and if you can, look towards your belly button. See that your belly button is drawing in. See that your right arm is extending up. Good. Right hand comes back down to the hip. Now you're going to bend into that left knee. Take your block on the highest setting. Place it outside of your left foot. Step your right foot in. Bring the block forward and begin to lift your right leg up any amount as you look down between your left foot and your left hand. So the right leg is lifting out to the side. Keep turning your right foot to face the side of the room and draw your chest forward here. Engage your core muscles. If you'd like, float the right arm up. Now as you exhale, begin to bring a bend into that left knee. Right hand comes to the hip. Softly lower the right toes down to the mat. Step the right leg back as you bring your blocks right on top of one another. Inhale, float the right arm up towards the ceiling. Once again, lifting that arm up, bending into that left knee this time. And then you're going to take both hands to the blocks as you spin both feet to face the front of the room. Now step your right leg forward, lift that leg up. Exhale, bring it forward and release the leg down right next to the left foot. Inhale, float the chest forward. Exhale, release the head on down. Grab hold of both of your blocks here as you inhale. Float both arms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen through the fingers. As you exhale, take the hands to the sides. You're going to take a block. You're going to bring it to the narrowest setting. And then you're going to bring that block in between the legs. You're going to take a second block and you're going to bring it in between your hands. So as you bring the block in between the hands, there's something that you should notice. You're going to press the fingers together so that the pinky fingers are engaging towards one another. And then take the arms forward in front of you. Like you're holding, a tray of some sort. And as you lengthen that buttocks down towards the heels here, begin to float those arms up towards the ceiling any amount. So use your palms, press into the palms, and allow the outer shoulders to draw towards the outer ribs. That's it. Maybe the arms lift a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. As you exhale here, bring the palms back down to parallel with the floor. Once again, inhale, raise those arms up towards the ceiling. So float those back ribs up, lengthen that buttocks flesh down. So even though the legs are drawing in towards each other, the buttocks is still moving down towards the heels. Exhale, lowering down here one more time. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling. So engaging those side arms, lengthening from the armpit all the way to the pinky finger, and allowing those outer shoulder blades to wrap away from one another. So they're wrapping toward the outer edges of the rib cage. As you exhale here, lower those hands down. You're going to release this block. Place it behind you or on your side. Okay. Palms are in Tadasana pose right now. So from here, we're going to begin to bend those knees towards one another so the thighs, they actually begin to draw in towards one another. And as the thighs draw in towards one another, we take the arms forward in front of us, just like we're holding onto that imaginary block. So see that the shoulders are spread wide apart. Keep sinking the tailbone down towards the heels. Keep drawing the navel in towards the spine. And inhale, float those arms up. So as we breathe here, this is called Utkatasana or chair pose. We're kind of in a middle state where we're sitting into a chair, but we're also lifting up through our arms. So we have this equal and opposite rebounding action happening. As you press those thighs down, lift the legs up and begin to release the arms down to the sides. Palms face the front of the room in Tadasana. Now remove this block from in between your legs. And one more time, bring the legs towards one another. So you could keep the knees hips width distance apart, or you could bring the feet together. It's really up to you. I'll do hips width distance apart for now, and if you want, you could do feet together as well. So inhale, take the arms forward in front of you. Exhale, bend those knees, bend those knees, bend those knees. Utkatasana, like you have a block in between the legs, like you have a block in between your hands. Inhale, begin to float those arms up above the head. Now, float the buttocks flesh down towards those heels. Engage the core muscles here and lengthen through the back shoulders all the way to the fingertips. That's it.
As you exhale, fold all the way forward. Very nice. As you inhale, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum here. And then as you exhale, you're going to lower your hands down to the mat. You'll walk your feet back, lower the knees down onto the mat, and eventually lower the chest all the way down to the mat. All right. As the chest lowers down onto the mat, once again, you're going to take the hands and you're going to walk the hands to the buttocks flush. You're going to draw the elbows in towards one another. Begin to feel the thighs firming in just like you had a block in between your hands, and smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way to the heels as you begin to lift the chest up. Now breathe here. The elbows continue to draw in towards each other. Hug the belly in and begin to float the right leg up. So here you're using your core muscles to float that leg up. You're not using your chest. As you exhale, lower that foot down. Inhale, float the left leg up. So draw that left foot into center. Keep smoothing the flesh of the buttocks towards the back of the heels. Exhale, lower that foot down. Release the head to face the right side of the room. Let the legs go. Breathe here. Good. And once again, you'll find your way back to center. You'll inhale, you'll extend your arms back behind you, and this time you'll lengthen your arms all the way back as if you were holding a block in between your hands. Lengthen the fingers back all the way to the heels and allow the chest to lift on up. Let the crown of the head be long, in line with the torso, and one more time begin to float that right leg up. So as the right leg floats up, imagine you have a block in between your legs and a block in between your hands. So you're hugging that block in, you're hugging both blocks in, and then you have the block in between your legs, and you're squeezing your legs together. You're squeezing your legs together. You're squeezing your legs together. And as you exhale, releasing the entire body down and turning the head to the opposite side. Good. And then from here, you'll plant the hands down on the mat. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest. Exhale, begin to find your way into Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog pose. So downward facing dog pose here, continuing to press down through the fingers, continuing to feel the forearms floating up as the outer arms revolve back and in. So you can feel those shoulders spreading just like we had a block in between our arms. From here, you're going to take the left knee forward in between the arms. You're going to release the left shin down, the left foot down. You're going to take your block, so grab hold of your block and place it right behind your right buttocks. Your left buttocks. Left buttocks is floating, so you're going to place it so that you can release your left buttocks onto that block. You're going to take your second block here. You're going to place your second block in front of you, and then you're going to release your head onto that second block. So now the head is resting on the one block, and the buttocks is resting on the other block. As you release here, you're going to turn the hips so that your left hip is moving back towards your right heel. Your right hip is moving towards your left foot. And breathe here as you close those eyes. This is called pigeon pose. I think this is actually the first time I've taught this pose in this class. And just breathe here. So see that your ribs are softening. See that your eyes are closed. See that the weight is even within the shoulders, and you feel that evenness pressing back through the feet. And pigeon pose you want to see that you're balanced in those hips. So as the left hip draws back, the right hip draws forward. Eventually, you should find a sense of balance within your hips. And then walking the hands back, walking the hands back, walking the hands back, tucking the toes underneath. Pressing down through the ball of your right foot, drawing that left foot back, and then walking the dog here. So bending that right knee, and then bending the left knee, and bending the right knee, and bending the left knee. So release those knees down to the mat again. Release those knees down to the mat again. Inhale, float the chest on forward. Good. From here, you're going to take your right hand and you're going to spin your right arm under your left shoulder. So just like this is called twisting or thread the needle pose. I think it might be called twisting pigeons pose. And then you're going to take your left arm and place it right behind your back here. So let the head release down, close those eyes and breathe. You're taking a resting pigeon's pose. And then from here, you'll place the left palm down on the mat. You'll lift your chest up, come back to center, and then you're going to take a downward facing dog pose again. Downward facing dog pose again here. Good. So this time, we draw the right knee in, draw the right knee to the hand, draw the right foot out towards the left palm so your knee is bent. You're going to place a block right underneath your right hip. You're going to place a block right in front of your head. So if you feel any pressure in that right knee at all, then what you need to do is lift your block up to a higher setting. You shouldn't feel any pressure here in the hip. That's the reason why we have these blocks. The blocks are supposed to support the body, not your body. You're not supposed to put the pressure into the joints. You're supposed to use the blocks as a way of allowing for you to protect your body. All right, and eventually you're going to lift on up. You're going to take your legs, you're going to bring them on back. Find your way back into downward facing dog pose, bending the knees, and then releasing the knees down to the mat. And you're going to swim your left arm underneath your right. So you're just coming into this nice little resting thread the needle pose and breathing here. You can take your right arm if you want and place it behind your back. Place your right hand down. Inhale, press your way on up. All right, now we're going to take our legs forward of our chest. So you're going to bring your legs forward, and you're going to find your way onto your backs now. As you find your way onto your back, hug the knees into the chest here.
And as we usually do in our practice, just a tiny bit of core work, just so that we have balance in our body. You're going to take your chest up here. So you're going to lift up your chest, your heart, your sternum, lift up. Knees are bent. You're just going to tap your right foot down to the mat. And inhale, draw that right knee back to bend. And tap your left foot down to the mat. And inhale, draw the knee to bend. You're just going to alternate here, tapping the feet. And if you want more, then just extend your right leg all the way fully forward and tap. And extend your left leg all the way forward and tap. So that's a way to do more. You also want to keep your chest lifted the entire time. So your head is being cradled by your hands while the chest is lifting up towards those thighs. So just alternating here. Once again, you can either extend the legs like this, or you could tap and tap and tap. And then eventually you're going to tap both feet down, and you're going to draw both knees in. You're going to tap both feet down and draw both knees in. So you could also do this by extending the legs fully forward and drawing the legs fully in. And extending the legs fully forward and drawing the legs fully in. 3 more of those. So tapping and lifting. And tapping and lifting. Tapping and lifting. So this time you're just going to lift the arms up. You're going to lift the chest up. You're going to breathe here. That's it. And then from here, you'll lower the head down and hug those knees into the chest. So simple twist here. Jartha Parivartanasana. Arms come out to the sides, T shape. Float the legs off to the right side. If you're still looking for abdominal work, then just let those knees hover above the floor. See that the left outer hip is lengthening towards the right heel. See that both sides of the chest are opening up. Left side of the chest is opening towards the left elbow. All right, back to center and to the other side. All right, back to center again. From here, you're going to take your legs and you're going to come back into Supta Baddha Konasana. So, guys, we started here, if you remember. You're going to have 2 blocks. You're going to place a block on either side of the legs, and you're just going to release your legs out to the sides. Your palms are extended out to your sides as well as you release the body down. This is called Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound ankle pose. And release. If you need any support for the head, you could place a blanket underneath the head, the neck. And then eventually you can bring your legs fully extended on your mat into Shavasana. So the legs extend. Try to allow the legs to release completely. Let the arms release completely and breathe here. And eventually, you'll begin to bring those knees back into a bent position. You'll begin to roll the body over to one side, pressing your palms down, and inhale, lifting the chest on up. Find your way into a seated position. Bring the palms to the center chest. And release the chin towards the chest. Namaste. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this morning class, Vinyasa Flow Level 1. Yes, let's keep this going. So if you guys want to stick around for a few moments, just give my little closing for the classes. Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us in Vinyasa Flow Level 1. My name is Jason Gorenstein. This is Yoga Vinyasa Flow Level 1, and today is June the 3rd, but our next class is Friday, June the 5th. Oh, thank you so much, Gail. Amazing. Good hip practice. Okay. I am so happy. It's been a pleasure to be able to continue to work with you guys in these practices, trying to provide modifications and also trying to make a practice that are unique and innovative. So I'm doing my best to keep creating sequences and restructuring sequences for you guys. So these are some ways, as you guys know, have been watching. Oh, thank you so much, Anton. These are some ways that if you guys want to help out, these are ways you can help out. Thumbs up, heart sign, commenting and sharing, always good ways. You guys that have given me contributions. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Debbie. Perfect. So good hip class. I guess I had this was a hip hooray. I might call the class. So I've actually updated my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to find me on YouTube, it's at Yoga with Jason G. All the videos will be uploaded onto YouTube. So if you have any friends that don't have Facebook, but you think they could benefit from these classes, you could send them over to the YouTube page. I did that because I realized that for two reasons. Facebook, not everybody has a Facebook account. And secondly, YouTube makes it much easier to catalog the videos, so I can put all the videos together that are similar, and then everybody can watch them at once, as opposed to Facebook. It's a little bit like sifting, and it can be difficult to find videos. So YouTube's a much easier way to search. And I hope that you guys have a beautiful day today. Please be well. Gail, as always, pleasure seeing you. Aunt Dawn as well, and Debbie. So it's been amazing to have you ladies in class. Really a pleasure, and I will look forward to seeing you soon. If I don't see you sooner than Friday, have an incredible couple of days, next couple of days. I'll look forward to seeing you all on Friday at least. You can feel free to check in for other classes later today. We still have a 9 a.m., a 12 p.m., and a 3 p.m. class. So all live streaming on Facebook, and the recap classes will be on YouTube. So have a wonderful day, guys. I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Namaste, yogis. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Bye, guys.